If you saw my video yesterday, you know that I called Seattle U's most recent loss to Oregon State disappointing. And I kind of want to touch more on that and why I think it was disappointing. And kind of the themes that you could see from that loss that were in the other two games of this three-game losing streak. It's interesting because if you looked at this three-game road trip preseason and were told Seattle would drop all three of these games, you probably wouldn't be that surprised. Seattle was picked to finish 8th preseason, and at Gonzaga, at St. Mary's, and at Oregon State was certainly no easy task. But because of the way that this non-conference has played out for the Redhawks, it's kind of reset our expectations. So I think it's fair to tip the cap to Seattle for beating Gonzaga for 34 minutes and being right there in it with St. Mary's. I also think it's fair that the result isn't as disappointing as the way that they lost these games. At the end of the day, in my eyes, it came down to the other team just playing better when it mattered, and Seattle's offense just not being good in crunch time. That feels weird to say, especially for a team that has a couple good quality wins in non-conference that came down to the wire. But through 5 games of WCC play, that has just not been the case. Here's an interesting stat. In this 3-game losing streak, in the final 10 minutes and overtime in the case of the Gonzaga game, Seattle has been outscored 82-44 by opponents. That's just flat out not good enough to close out these games, and games that they were right there in. All three of these games were neck and neck at one point. And the way that this team is constructed, I feel like they have success with these balanced scoring lineups and balanced scoring attacks. But in these 3 games, I feel like there are situations where just no one really stepped up in isolation and no one stepped up to get their own bucket. And I feel like they're just kind of missing that. Since the start of WCC play, Seattle's overall scoring numbers have dropped, and the overall numbers closing out games have dropped as well. And I feel like this could kind of be a storyline to watch as we go further through WCC play. If you have any thoughts about the past 3 games or the Redhawks' outlook for the rest of the season, let me know in the comments, and if you're interested in my written content, you can find it at the Emerald City Spectrum.